Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I'm taking a look at the Lenovo LOQ for 2024. This is actually the most affordable gaming laptop that Lenovo makes in their new lineup. So I'm excited to share it with all of you, something a little bit more budget-friendly, and well, just good to be looking at some laptops again. So essentially what you're about to see retails for $750. I'll include a link to Best Buy where I believe this specific model is exclusively sold, but that doesn't mean you can't find it in other places, so I shouldn't say exclusively. And really what Lenovo has done is they've created a new chassis, which I'm excited to see, and from what I have already seen, it seems pretty robust. It's all about just giving us some dialed back internal specifications that can still accomplish the task. So we're getting a 15.5-inch IPS display. It is full HD, 144 Hz refresh rate. We have an Intel Core i5 12th Gen HX processor, complemented by 12 gigs of RAM, not soldered. It is a single DIMM. The screen, by the way, 350 nits of brightness. And then we have an Intel GPU. It's the Arc A350M, 4 gigs of VRAM on there. Lenovo's estimating 7 hours of runtime with a 60 watt-hour battery. I am not expecting that, but still we'll find out. And then in addition to that, we also have a 0.5 terabyte SSD, and I don't believe that's a Gen 4 drive, but that pretty much rounds out specs. Let me go ahead and get this open, and let's actually take a look at what we're working with. Now, this is a review unit. Like the majority of the laptops that I cover, I always mention whether I've purchased the unit or it has been sent to me by the manufacturer for review purposes. And this one, of course, is a review unit that will be going back to Lenovo. So, budget-friendly, and we know that based on the specs. You can also get this in an AMD build. You can get this spec'd with a RTX 4050. I believe that's roughly the same price. And generally speaking, I will always, at least at the present time, or I should say at the time of this video, tell all of you that your money is better spent with an NVIDIA GPU than an Intel one. But that doesn't mean that Intel won't eventually find a way to be even more budget-friendly than, well, NVIDIA. Granted, NVIDIA is a much larger company, especially now. I remember them in 1998 like, well, it was yesterday. So we have our power brick, which I'm going to take out just to see exactly what the wattage is on it, but I believe it's 170. Let's just double check that right now. It is covered up with a little sheath, so I'm going to remove that. But again, I do believe it is a 170 watt adapter. And you know, you may have already noticed this machine looks a lot like the Legion Pro series, but slightly different. Also, the display is a 16:9, not a 16:10, and it is a 170 watt power brick for anyone that was wondering. It's right there. So let's take a look at this thing. It has an angular design, as you can see, chopped edges that kind of remind me of some old HP stuff, but I like the look and feel of this. It is predominantly polycarbonate, so that's one of the ways that they're cutting costs. No LEDs on the back lid, but much of the design language is, again, right out of the Legion lineup. So let's go around the machine quickly. As you can see right there, we've got a Type A USB port, headphone microphone combo jack, webcam privacy switch, and a Type C port. And that Type C port is not Thunderbolt, even though this is an Intel-based machine. This is part of how Lenovo is keeping costs down, of course. Then we have our power port. I believe that's, or no, that is another USB Type A port, HDMI 2.0 out. We do not have 2.1 support. Your gigabit Ethernet, another Type A USB port, and then last but not least, the actual power adapter. Come around to the other side, left side of the machine. There is literally nothing there. Front side also pretty much zero going on, except for that lip. Not even any branding there. Bottom, we have a little bit of this, it's not honeycomb texture going on, but something like that. A warning about the product containing a button cell or coin battery. Interesting. As an ingestion hazard. I have not seen that on the bottom of a machine to date, unless I'm just blanking. A lot of ventilation also at the back, as you may have noticed. I presume these are the speakers right here, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and open this up. It's pretty heavy, the machine. I mean, it's not a lightweight by any means, but it shouldn't break your back. Seems about average for a 15.5-inch gaming laptop. Now, the first thing you'll notice right out of the box is that the keyboard is very, very similar to what you get with a Legion Pro build. So that's definitely a nice thing, in my opinion. It's like we're almost getting the Legion Pro here at $750. So that already impresses me. Full numerical keypad, I always like that. Some of you hate it. It's really a matter of personal preference. Nice large trackpad, and key travel, you know, at least seems pretty good to me as I type that out, as odd as that is. Of course, you know, your branding for the Intel GPU and Intel i5 12th gen processor. Your power button right here. Let's see, someone has reviewed this already. That's why it's not, you know, was not sealed in the box. Looks like I will need to actually connect it, but let's see if I can just connect it using a Type-C. See what I did there? And go from there. So I'm going to just grab a Type-C cable, and we'll see if we can power it that way. And if not, I can always connect it with the included power adapter. But I anticipate it is going to be able to get power through the Type-C port. I'm just looking for an appropriate cable here. Bear with me. And no, I think it's exciting to see affordable products like this. That's not something you always are going to find. And I know it's something a lot of you have been waiting for, to see, you know, a appropriately priced laptop for gaming. It doesn't, you know, have to be a fortune. And that's what's nice about a machine like this. So let me go ahead and plug it in. And we're going to find out whether or not it can take power from the Type-C port. Let's hope that it can. Of course, this cable is giving me a little bit of trouble, but let's find out right now. Let's see if it can actually... It is only taking 3 watts, so that is telling me it is not going to cut it. And that is our only Type-C port. So power delivery looks like it's... Nope, it is now charging. And it just jumped from, if you saw, 3 watts to 94 watts. So this is working. So we're in business. Now I'm going to just open it up, and we'll see what things look like. Now you may have noticed some wobble with the screen. That seems to be one of those things that, you know, you have to be aware of. It is a matte display, it appears. Yeah, it's matte. I don't know the megapixel count on the webcam, but I'm not expecting anything revolutionary. Again, this is all about being budget conscious. We do have a backlit keyboard. You can see it jumping through the levels there, which, you know, because of the lighting in my studio, you're not going to see a tremendous amount of gradation difference as I step through the 3 levels, but it's real. Function Q still gives you silent, auto, and if you're connected to the actual power brick, a performance mode. And we're going to see how that ARC GPU handles games. Again, only 4 gigs of VRAM, so I'm not expecting monumental performance, but hopefully it will at least deliver decent performance. It looks like the machine just powered down, so may need to give it a little bit of time to actually get juiced up. But, you know, does this represent a value proposition? Absolutely. You're looking at a machine that is under $1,000 and will be able to game. How well is a different story, and that's what we're going to find out. By the way, Wi-Fi 6E on board. The display, again, even though, you know, you're seeing a lot of glare, 350 nits of brightness is pretty decent. Color accuracy, at least from what I've seen here and read online, seems decent. So that's another plus for a budget-oriented machine. And the 12th gen chip, even though it's an i5 processor, I mean, it's not going to be bad. That's the good news. I mean, when you look at what else is out there at this price point, nothing is going to be new like this in terms of a completely new chassis and marketing and position with older specs in order to cut price. But you know, the alternative is going with a literal older product, which companies generally aren't marketing. You'll be looking for clearance type stuff, or really stepping down in terms of overall quality and cutting even more corners. So I think, you know, from an appearance perspective, this does not look like a budget machine. And from a spec perspective, I think it's fairly solid. You do have Wi-Fi 6E on here. I'll be testing everything, including that 0.5 terabyte drive. Could I say that they could have thrown a real, you know, terabyte rather than a 0.5 terabyte in there? Sure, but is that realistic for a budget-friendly machine like this that is going to go down in price even more? Remember, this starts at $750 right now at launch, and I think it's been on the market for a little over a month and change, maybe two, a couple months, but I think it was March or April that it officially started being offered at Best Buy. I think that was the main channel, but it's going to go down in price as it gets clearanced out. So if this were to go down to $500 or $600, you understand why the internals look the way they do. And that 12th gen i5 from Intel, it's still going to be able to get everything done from a productivity standpoint and again, gaming, content creation standpoint. It won't give you best-in-class performance, but it is not a slouch, even though it's a nearly 3-year-old CPU. And that's part of the beauty of this second life that manufacturers are incorporating into budget-friendly machines like this. But again, seems like it's got a solid display with a high refresh rate. Full HD is going to cut it for most. I think the Adobe RGB spectrum on this is like close to 80%. That's very good for a budget machine, and again, above average brightness. Generally, budget machines like this from the other manufacturers are generally about 100 nits of brightness less than this, and you're not getting a new chassis with new design. So let's see how it goes. But remember, if the ARC GPU in here isn't enough, they do have 4050 and I think a 4060 option, but I think you have to go with the AMD CPU, which isn't a bad thing either. The AMD CPU version of this is last gen's chipset. Now, that doesn't mean I would recommend it over the Intel one, believe it or not, but ultimately that will be decided by GPU performance. And in that case, you know, the edge is probably going to go to the AMD NVIDIA combination, how weird that is to say, versus the Intel combination, meaning CPU, GPU pairing. But we'll see. Let me get this charged up, start testing it out. But this is a really attractive, budget-friendly machine. We're going to find out how attractive it is when it comes to actual real-world performance. But I think it should be decent at that $750 price point. And as the price goes down, only more attractive. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.